Thor Jewell from OWC, and I'm here with Scott McLesley on the set of Grand Isle. We're out in Baton Rouge at Village Studio, and wanted to talk a little bit about how the production process behind this and how OWC equipment is really solving some pretty tough challenges.
On this specific gig, we decided to have a really low-profile data workflow, which basically involved moving data from set to the studio as fast as we possibly can. And when we were doing preps, there was no solution whatsoever available until we stumbled upon this thing, main component for how we work it right now. So the idea is this being a super fast Thunderbolt 3 drive that is capable of being a RAID 5. So this is a one-stop shop for your backup and transfer if you want to keep your data safe. You don't need to have two of these to ensure the redundancy. This would be a perfect tool in terms of speed where we need it. The offload process takes me 20 minutes, worst case scenario.
It's incredibly exciting. I mean, OWC is the leading hard drive manufacturer in the world. They only specialize in professional hard drives for studio quality engagements. And it was incredibly exciting to have such robust gear custom designed for our own particular bespoke application on set. We just finished using it in the delivery of Blaze, which was a feature film directed by Ethan Hawke, award-winning feature film, and OWC was instrumental in the post-production of that, and the delivery, which actually spanned, of course, multiple territories, where we're doing work both in the US and in Europe at the same time. So we had a system that was built to replicate, so that they could engage very easily over ultra-fast broadband.
One of the challenges of this shoot specifically is that shooting dual 8K cameras, right?
Yep.
So pulling a crazy amount of data on a pretty constant stream, this high-speed storage could maybe be a game changer in this kind of a dynamic. What kind of a comparison could you make in terms of how much faster you use?
We were riding carriages before. This is a sports car. I used to spend at least an extra 2 hours on set, because you can't leave the set without having at least two separate copies, and not just two separate copies. I'm talking two separate copies with checksums checked. Because of the speeds of this device, I'm not the last person to leave the set.
And I think what's particularly exciting is our CTO, Scott, has a very strong relationship with OWC, and it's been cultivated to such an extent that there's a live interaction from the product being deployed in the field, and immediate, if not instantaneous these days, with the various chat systems and messaging systems, where straight into the labs at OWC, they're getting the feedback they need and require in real time, which means that their responses can be in real time, which means they can continue to develop. They can find out, actually, if I had done it slightly different, then I could have it perfect for this robust professional solution.
We can talk about the products, we can feedback, and that's actually getting heard. That is something that's really new to me, and that's really exciting, because now I can stress test the equipment on set, and this is the best stress test you can possibly imagine. And by the end of the day, give a clear feedback, and next day we are discussing how we are improving it. And whoa, it rolls out on set for us to test again. And the other issue we totally have with development of USB-C/Thunderbolt 3 is the connector does not sit where it belongs. In terms of RAID, that's kind of crucial. So guys came up with a solution that basically keeps the connector in place and provides us safety and redundancy in terms of just accidental shaken movements, and with cards being sturdy, there's still cards. set being the best place to stress test it because people are running, hitting the card all the time. Power gets unplugged at random, the usual set things. We did basically cut power to a running RAID that was transcoding off itself. Because the thing is managed by a software of your design, right? The soft RAID.
Yeah.
As much as words soft and RAID put together give me shivers from back in the days, this is reliable. Like, it got disconnected. I got a message popped up that, whoa, your RAID is gone. Whoa. And while breaking sweat, I plugged it back in, and it just started resuming transcoding.
We are passionate about post-production, content creation, and just generally taking all the technology away from the creative process as much as we can to allow the creators to be ultimately more creative and to do more with less. And I think the thing that we're excited about in conjunction with Village Studios is that we sort of have a similar methodology with that. You and your team have been able to build award-winning films that are released in film festivals worldwide, using products and post-production environments and people that are substantially less than you would typically associate with a production of the scale that you're dealing with, right? That's also, we're a big company on conservation and being able to do as much as you can with as little as is needed.
We at Village Studios always try to get the most out of the least.
Because of course the professional world is changing all the time. The cameras are changing, the ways that we approach things are changing, and the demands that are unique to a studio or unique to a location are always a different challenge. And so technology is fighting to keep up with that, and as we change from Firewire to USB-C to 3 to 2 to Thunderbolt 1, 2, there are so many different levels of connectivity, and so it's interesting to have someone in the field who's coping with all of those different eventualities as they come up and advising and feeding back quite literally in real time to a factory which can then develop a product line around our unique needs, which is exciting and interesting to a much wider professional use.
Thing you notice at once, there's no fan.
Yeah.
And I'm really amazed how you managed to make a device that does heat, and I know that for sure because I understand what components are used and how what's the bandwidth on them, and still it's the quietest thing that you can stick next to the camera, and that's it. No problem for sound whatsoever.
On Grand Isle, we were doing rushes as they came out of the camera. As soon as they were out of the camera, they were automatically being transcoded and going up into the cloud, straight down to the edit system. And at lunchtime, the physical 8K 2, 3, 4 cameras were being delivered because we had such incredible offload speeds, being backed up automatically to an incredibly fast RAID and also to LTO. So the connectivity that OWC allowed us to have and the speed of the drives and the incredibly robust and stable platform was absolutely game-changing in what we could do.
How can we continue to work together to evolve this whole entire production process so that people can do more with less and the creativity sort of takes center stage? I think that's, for us, one of the pieces that we're most excited about in being an exclusive partner with Village.
As an DI engineer, I always dream of developing something that would change the process, make it easier for me, make it easier for my colleagues, and would be as reliable. And if it's faster, quicker, and more reliable, it becomes an industry standard. So my hopes is bringing new industry standards to cinematography with conjunction with OWC.
Yeah, and it all starts out in Baton Rouge with Grand Isle, which is wrapping production in the next couple weeks.
We are almost done, and we are in time, we're in shape, and we're looking really optimistic, and that's mostly because we don't have any problems with offload whatsoever. Thank you guys.
Cut, cut, cut it!